Brody Miller with Neurotransformations. Come on up.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, everybody that's here, the greater Colorado Springs community, 1 million cups, and honored guests. Thank you so much for allowing me to present my story to you all this morning. However, my story includes times of deep depression, anxiety, being taken to jails, mental institutions, and hospitals. My 20s were truly marred by a tough trail of learning lessons. And to be honest, when I looked myself in the mirror, I didn't like that guy. However, above all, my story is about redemption, and I'm going to get into that. So who am I? I don't know if any of you all watched the movie with Jackie Chan, but he screams out, "Who am I?" And sometimes I thought the same thing. So on the surface, my name is Brody Miller. I'm soon to be Doctor of Natural Medicine on the completion of my practicum hours from Quantum University. I'm also a dedicated husband, dog lover, nature enthusiast, and entrepreneur. But even more so than any of that other stuff, I'm an alchemist, and so are every single one of you all, whether you realize it or not, for the way that you transmute negative emotions into positive ones every single day. So let me take you all back to a moment in time. Around 7 years ago, on a warm, sunny day in Tucson, Arizona, I experienced my first grand mal seizure. And perhaps some of you all can relate, because a seizure is a very similar sensation to a panic attack in the way that your eyes become fixated, and however, a seizure is much more intense than a panic attack. After being taken to the hospital, doctors discovered a cavernous malformation in my left frontal lobe that was about the size of a cranberry. And that malformation was leaking blood in the rest of my brain, causing me to have grand mal seizures. So fast forward about 4 months from that time, doctors removed that malformation, neurosurgeons. They cut open my skull. However, my path to recovery was not as simple as just a cut and pull. After that, I continued to have on average 3 grand mal seizures a month. And I also developed chronic neuropathy in both of my forearms, and I had difficulty even doing a simple push-up at that time. However, it was during this dark period in my life that I discovered what I call the miracles of neuroplasticity from my great friend Karen Stewart. May she rest in peace. Neuroplasticity is essentially the innate and inherent ability of our brain, body, and nervous system to rewire, change, and adapt in response to our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, and overall perceptions of reality. And so I've spoken to neuroscientists, and they echo this sentiment that neuroplasticity truly can be our superpower if use it or lose it. So what do I focus on? I'm going to get into that a little bit. I focus on stress reduction because, as many of you all know, stress is truly the #1 killer. It's public enemy #1 in the way that it blocks positive neuroplasticity in our brain and body. And statistics echo that sentiment. Statistics in 2021 by the World Health Organization found that over 700,000 people die of suicide every single year, meaning that every 40 seconds, unfortunately, somebody has taken their own life. And not only that, by the end of this speech, around 9 people have killed themselves. And I find that unacceptable. And I'm going to move on to what do I teach and why. What I focus on is a series of modalities such as nutrition, subconscious mind reprogramming techniques, breath work, and meditation. And all of these subjects are backed by the efficacy of science. However, the proof is truly in the pudding with me, because if you had spoken to me 7 years ago, I would have had trouble completing even basic sentences. So the proof is with me. And who do I dedicate this to? I dedicate this to my great friend, Michael Youssef. May he rest in peace. He passed away in 2022 from a drug overdose. And it makes me ponder what would have happened and what would have been different if he would have known the tools and techniques. And so, to my great friend, we miss you. So, how can you connect with me? You can connect with me in that QR code, or you can find me at brody@neurotransformations.com. And ultimately, if I can just change one person's life for the better, then I believe that to be a profound success. A standard treatment regimen is about it's a 10-week program where you meet with me for 1 hour and I assign you homework going over what I had spoken of right here. So it includes nutrition plans, because nutrition is important for brain functioning. It's like the building blocks. And then all of these other techniques. And what we're going to do is just go over your individual story and how that can be applicable for you in changing your life. And science says that it takes around 100 days for neuroplasticity to truly occur. Sometimes a little less, sometimes more, but that's on average. Yes, sir.
Test 1, 2, 3. It's working. Okay. Great story, my friend. I appreciate your transparency and just helping us to understand what created this space for you. When did the light bulb come on? And so, you know what? I've been helped so amazingly by this process that I need to make sure that I'm helping others.
That's a good question.
I think he's on too.
There was no one aha moment necessarily. It was just the fact that I was getting better so quickly and I was healing so fastly that over time I realized if I'm not giving what helped me do that, then I'm doing the world a disservice. And so it was not necessarily just a light bulb moment, but it was a gradual process. And I say I need to do that. Yeah. Thank you. Way in the back?
Okay. I'll just scream. I got a good voice with being a little one. So, congrats on your recovery, number one. But have you worked with like local therapists or other doctors in Colorado Springs, area, to kind of help expand your footprint?
Very little to this point in time, but that's definitely on my radar. I'd like to continue to network, meet with people. That's why I'm at this event right now, is to build awareness. Because I believe when you build awareness, then you can make changes and new choices in your life. And that's the most important thing for people to realize, is that every little tiny action that we take makes a huge ripple effect on the world, whether you realize it or not. Right here.
First of all, I'm really happy that you're involved in your work that you're trying to do. That's really important. How do you go out?
So at this moment in time, I'm doing most of my marketing as just organically growing my social media pages, and I've been able to attract some clients that way. But one of the main reasons I'm here is to connect with people, because I would like to build out a true proven sales process, because I know that that's results need to be replicable. And so at this moment in time, it's just organic marketing.
Hey, Brody.
Hi there.
Congratulations on your journey.
Thank you.
And are you local? That's my question. Are you local right here in Colorado Springs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Look forward to working with you.
absolutely.
I have a question for you, Brody. Who would you say is kind of your ideal client? Do you work with just the normal, everyday, average Joe, or are you specifically looking to work with people who have had traumatic brain injuries?
At this point, I have 3 ideal clients. I've worked with boxers due to brain trauma and brain injury. But my ideal client is somebody that's around 30 to 35 years old, a tech professional who's struggling with chronic stress and anxiety, insomnia, and I've worked with quite a few so far, so that's kind of been my target range at this moment in time.
You mentioned a very narrow age group. Why 30 to 35?
Another awesome question. In fact, I had a discussion with a marketing expert who actually worked for Disney, and he was saying the same thing. Brody, why are you boxing yourself in? Why go so narrow? And I said, originally I was doing men because I thought that I could relate to them better, but everybody needs help with stress because stress doesn't discriminate. It doesn't discriminate on your age. It doesn't care the color of your skin or any of that. So ultimately, I think I could help a wide range of individuals.
I kind of have 2 questions. So how long have you been in business? And can you basically give us maybe your elevator pitch so that we can know a little bit more specifically about your business?
Absolutely. I've been in business right around 2020, but informally, honestly, this year, I'm finally getting a little more serious about that, being in front of people and speaking. But my USP is they'll call me Dr. Bro because I'm not your average Harvard-educated doctor. However, I am going to be one of the most relatable doctors because I've been through the mud like most people. I may not be Harvard educated, but I can be relatable to you. School of Hard Knocks.
So you said that they took the cranberry size out of your head.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that your recovery was not straightforward. Can you talk about what that looks like? Because you seem pretty normal now. So something incredible happened.
I'll never be normal, quote unquote normal, but that's an awesome question because I didn't talk about the medications that they gave me. I was on Depakote, I was on Keppra, and I actually had a violent reaction to Keppra. Then that's where they took me to the mental institution. I got so angry on that medicine, I became the person that I didn't even recognize. And so I had nothing against medication for the 5% of people that absolutely need it. However, to me, the answer is not medication, and it wasn't in my recovery. It was through the meditation. It was through just learning about the science of neuroplasticity, where doctors told me that I wasn't going to be able to change. That you're stuck, Mr. Miller. We're going to put you on this Depakote and Keppra, and it wasn't an answer for me. So.
Would you say your practice is based more in Eastern medicine than Western medicine?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's both. I think combining Eastern and Western modalities is the key because why not take the best of both worlds? Because there's so much, an enormous amount of wisdom over the years that have been accumulated. It's just a tremendous amount. In the scientific aspect, I like to call it, this is an oversimplification, but it's left brain stuff, logic, statistics, facts. But Western medicine is the emotional, the creativity, and then there's things that in our reality that we can't even perceive that are always going on. So it's just an interesting perspective for people to account for.
Hi there. I love your story. I do understand. I used to be a surgical technologist, and I work with surgeons who did neurosurgery, so I understand the intricacies of that. But I want to ask you, what is the fusion of Eastern medicine and Western medicine? Since you do use that, can you give us an example, or can you give us a visual picture of what that looks like?
Absolutely. So fusing the two, the best of both worlds, looks like this. When you look at the statistics of meditation, what I did for my PhD dissertation was a study on the efficacy of mindfulness meditation on traumatic brain injury. And what I did is I compiled a case study of 10 people, all from different walks of life that have had brain injuries. And overall, the statistics verified 50 to 35% improvement of statistics across the board. So it wasn't a in-depth study, it was a case study, but it did show that mindfulness meditation in 60 days can have huge impact upon people's lives. So that's kind of what it combines is neuroplasticity, very logical, statistical. This is how this happens in the brain with meditation, which is inherently started as an Eastern tradition.
You spoke about boxers. What about competitive athletes and those that want to be competitive athletes? Can you work with them?
Absolutely. And I think performance is in our nervous system, in our brain. And if we can just educate them on the basic science of neuroplasticity and how that affects performance, things such as reaction time, if you're a boxer, speed, all of these things that can be improved, it's all performance-based. And the same goes with the average gentleman. We're increasing his performance and his overall ability to function in life. Yes. Beautiful question. Beautiful question. So if you were a young 5-year-old kid, I would say, hey, buddy, you're not stuck in the way that you are. Basically, every little step that you take in life has an importance. And the way that you can change that is we have this little organ right here called our brain. And you can, every thought that you think, man, it has an impact upon your life. It truly does. And I don't know where I was going with that. I did my best.
Hi, Brody. Thank you for sharing your story. I would imagine that a lot of the things that you're doing needs to be built from a foundation of trust. So what do you do to build trust with the people for them to share their story with you?
Another great question. Essentially, what I've heard is that it takes 10 to 15 touch points online to build that trust. So it's one little baby step at a time, or for some people that have a little more trust and rapport with me, it can be a little quicker. But I think the ultimate way that you can build trust is through your authentic expression of yourself. And also, awareness needs to occur for them to even understand. So if I can be authentic to you or the next person, and we're all equals here, nobody's better than anybody else. And I'm the first one to understand that. I've been beaten down. But authenticity is, I think, the best way of doing so.
Awesome. Did you discover these things and make a program that got you out of where you were, or did you go through a program and now you're duplicating that for others?
A little bit of a mix, because a lot of it was experimentation, and I found great scientist and a doctor, Joe Dispenza is one of the people that many of you all may know that influenced me along this journey. And when I learned about neuroplasticity, I started to dive deeply into my research, and then my PhD, where I learned a lot about Eastern medicine and how it can be combined with the West. And so breath work, out of them all, is probably the easiest and quickest way to change your mental state. It can take just as fast as 2 minutes. Changing your breathing pattern makes a huge difference.
Why don't you teach us that right now?
All right. Put me on the spot. Okay, so the 2-minute breathing exercise is in through your nose and out through your mouth, and it's going to be done quite violently to change your mind. And what that does is it boosts nitric oxide in your brain and body, which is huge for being able to change. So as she said, let's join in. Do we have 2 minutes? Let me double check. Okay. All right, everybody take a deep breath through your nose and out through your mouth. And repeat. We'll go for the full 2 minutes, but I don't know about you, but I feel a little bit different.
You're not getting left around there.
Hello. Hi. Question here.
There.
Do you recommend journaling as part of
this
the
book.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And how does that fit in?
Journaling
Breathing techniques.
is such an important technique, especially when you're getting that monkey mind going, what I call the monkey mind, and you want to change your monkey mind into a monk mind. And journaling doesn't necessarily help in that moment sometimes, because when my heart's palpitating really quickly, it's very difficult to feel instantly change through journaling. But over time, you see the payoffs because, wow, I was acting crazy this day. My emotions were wacko. What happened? And is that a repeatable thing that's occurring? And you can take that bird's eye view, vision of yourself, and see where that takes you. So it makes a huge impact. Yes, ma'am.
Final question. What can we as the Colorado Springs community do for you?
I love it. What you can do for me is I'm looking for 2 basic things. Number 1 is I'm searching for mentorship, more specifically with sales and marketing, because I understand the absolute importance of sales and marketing. So I'm looking to connect with a potential mentor. And number 2, you can connect with me on social media. So scan that QR code. You can find me on Instagram. Also, please find me on YouTube. Your card's right there. You can hit the QR code for me on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. And just let people know if anybody's searching for a guy, a relatable soon-to-be doctor, let me know.
Thank you, Billy. Let me get you one of these here. This is your 1 million cups travel mug, the highly coveted. It's in your cup holder, for sure. Guaranteed. Thank you, thank you. Fantastic.